got administrative salaries of $831,000, program-related administrative salaries out of the 16 for 1.6 million. So I just was wondering, it seemed like that's a pretty heavy salary load, and I wonder
It's so
if
hard.
that's correct.
I'm having a hard time hearing you. But let's go back to, I think you're asking me about salary expenses. So
Yeah.
let me try to speak to that as best I can. Our salaries are, hello? Our salaries are covered by portions of the VOCA grant. It allows us to have a sufficient number of advocates and caseworkers to work with our clients. It allows us to have 24/7 caseworker coverage and for working with our clients. You have the executive director, and in our case, a transition director, and a small team of those people who run the organization. But the people who are represented in the salaries are people who are on the ground helping clients for the most part.
You sort of have a breakdown of how that looks more directly?
I can provide you that, Dr. Warren.
Thank you.
I don't see any other colleagues in the queue, but I just wanted to go back, colleagues, and remind you that during the first hearings that we had from the CARES Act, we removed the funding because they were originally slated to receive funding from that. But during the process where we were trying to pare down $127 million worth of requests into $113 million worth of available funds, this $350,000 figure was one to where we cut that one. And I think that we didn't, I'm taking responsibility for this, didn't go back and try to replace this anywhere, and felt that we could under the grant program. Now, and I was hoping that there was going to be some available funds on the administration side that we could use to replace this funding. Because if I'm not mistaken, Ms. Hilliard, you all received funding both on the council level and on the administrative level.
That is correct.
Okay.
We received $250,000 from the city, and we received $100,000 from the councilman. And I'm so glad you mentioned that, because honest to goodness, if we are not able to receive these fundings, the truth is that we then would not be able to support the funding from VOCA or the Shelby County. They require upfront funding prior to invoicing them. So it helps us with the cash flow. It just would be a critical, it would leave a critical hole. Need I say more? And we certainly miss so much the opportunity for having had the funding approved prior to having to come back again. But we're so thankful that you allowed us to come back again to see whatever you can do to help us receive the fundings that were cut out of the budget. We were told primarily because of COVID. Lots of budgets were changed as a result of that, and we were cut out of the budget to some extent because of that. But the services nonetheless still remain a high need.
Great, and I recognize that, and I hope that we recognize that. And I just want to remind my colleagues too, though, that this is going to be a challenging year for us, and I would hope that we have a greater level of cooperation among us so that we can get some of these organizations up to a higher level of funding than what we would be able to do on an individual basis. Also want to remind us too, is that the council grant program, we took a 25% cut based upon even though we rolled it out of CARES Act into the operating budget, we did that after we cut our grant program by 25% from $2.6 million to the $1.95 million that we have available for this. So as we're going through and allocating our $150,000, like I said, I just want to reiterate, I think we'll be able to help many more organizations by doing so on a cooperative basis as opposed to just allocating our $150,000 amongst the 7 organizations that we sort of requested to hear from. So there's nobody else in the facility.
Councilman Jones, one other comment, then I'll just stop talking. But I would have to say that we have reached out, our chair, Chip Dudley, and the AG who's on our board, and I have been calling the council people just to plead our case individually. I would just like to say to you that we have had a lot of positive feedback. Many of them have verbally given commitments to us. So here's hoping and praying that a lot of those verbal commitments will become tangible commitments. But I wanted you to know that people are responding to us in a positive way, your council cohorts.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for your presentation. Stay well, Ms. Hilliard, and hope you have a good rest of the day.
Thank you, Councilman.
Thanks. You can call the next one.
135 on your list, Love of Truth International. Mr. Ward, we're going to give you presenter privileges now. If you could pull up your presentation with your budget on the screen. I've been reminded, we have a caller on the line. If the caller can let us know who they are, they are gone. Okay. They're not, hold on. It's gone on my screen. We have a caller on the line. If you could identify yourself.
Caller, please identify yourself. You will be disconnected.
Hello?
Oh, there you go, Mr. Ward. Okay.
Okay. All right. Okay. Hello?
We can hear you.
You can start with it.
Great. I'd like to say good morning to our honorable council. My name is Carl Ward. I'm with Love of the Truth International. We started off as a basically very grassroots organization. We was just helping children through the church, and it was going well. But then we wanted to make it official. And before we made it official, we began to work with the children, and we pulled back for financial reasons, and we was going to try to do it on our own. And we found out that didn't work. Because when we pulled back, we lost a whole set of children in that neighborhood. And it's a neighborhood with roughly about 900 houses right behind the new Amazon area, back by the Spring Valley area. And when we pulled back, we began to notice children being killed. We began to notice we were running to children, and we asked them, "How are you doing?" And one might be pregnant, one might have lost a brother or sister. So we had to go back and figure out a way to make this work for them and us. And so when we created this organization, Love of the Truth, we had to go in, and we had a program set up, and we was ready to implement our program, but we had so many things that we had to get through before we even touched our program. We had to get through clothing issues. We had to get through food issues. We had to get through domestic violence issues. So we're still working through these issues to actually get to our core program. So we're trying to secure right now funds to make everything happen that we need to happen in the order that it needs to happen, because it's hard to train a person in the way they should go and they are homeless, or they're needing so many different things. So our budget is reflecting, we're asking for 10,000 to go to our budget, and we have different things going on. And one of the major ones that we was able to do this year with the COVID going on, we was actually even to add in monies to help, rather than paying somebody to cut the grass on their 1.5 acres. We had someone to come in and train some of the youth how to do that. We was able to acquire equipment, and we had the youth to come in to get trained on doing it, and we was able to give them stipends this year, and that actually encouraged savings accounts, banking accounts, because when they got their little checks, they was wanting to go to the bank and deposit, and we was encouraging them to start savings account. And one little boy we had actually started enough. He has enough to get his little motor for his bike. We have a bike program, and he had actually wanted to put a motor on it. And so he's actually, we're going to match his funds to help him do what he's trying to do. And this budget will reflect the things that we're really trying to get done this year. And we need your help to do this. So on our program, we noticed that we could help so many more out of the 900. We maybe might be helping 20% out of that 900 homes. We're seeing children from different communities as well, but through relatives, they come in to stay. And so we actually hitting it, I think, more than the 20%. But we're having a ball, having a blast doing it. We're coming up with different ways to engage them. One of the ways we're doing that through arts. We have a big blue container out on the property at Ridgemont, 3490 Ridgemont, and we have a big letters on it saying the box. And the box is one of the programs that we're doing through a loaner tool program. We have 5 tool bags. We have a lawnmower, and we have small hand equipment to where if someone needs to beautify their own property, they can do it. We have a couple of instances where people actually came up and they knew how to do what they wanted to do, they just didn't have the tool. We had one little boy, he knew how to work on his bike, but he didn't have the tools or the patches to fix his bike. So we had the tools to loan them. They come bring their whatever they're fixing up to the box, and we have the tools to loan them to do that and do what they need to do. Some of our programs we implemented was the Cogs and Sprockets bike program, to where we learn the basic mechanics, because we know the Wright brothers started off with the airplane, started off with bikes and they made airplanes. So we want to take them to giant steps like that through simple mechanics. Put air in a tire, where I found out 18-year-olds don't necessarily know how to put air in a tire. We're finding out we assume a lot, so we just stop assuming and we just teach them what they need to know, and that way we know they have the skills that they need so they can fix a bike. Now we're going on to we're moving some on up to mini bikes and go-karts. We acquired a few go-karts that needed some attention. We got those going, and the next thing we're going to move them on up to other larger things. But as the youth come, we're keeping some at bikes, we're keeping some at the go-kart. As they acquire different skills, we'll move them up to a little bit more. So when they going through school, simple things they know how to do that other kids wouldn't know how to do. Through the bike repair program, they don't throw their bikes away. They have to give us one, in order to be a part of it, they have to do community service. They have to we give them the bikes, the supplies. They got to change the color. They got to make it different. And we help them do all of that. We supply everything, but they have to give us community service to give back, because we want them to not only just receive all the time, we want them to give back as well. And we had a senior citizen that had a stroke, wanted to ride a bike. We was able to fix her up a bike and give it to her so she can get her exercise in, and she's excited to have that bike. And so we're just teaching them, don't throw your bike away because it's on flat. I have some junk with guys to deal with scrap metal. They'll drop me bikes off. We put them in a container, and we give the bikes out to the children. I got an older set of group the guys that already have done bikes. They're gonna fix the little bikes for the smaller children, and we're gonna give those out as well. So we're just looking forward to different projects. We're looking for our praise and worship. Where they come out, if they have skills, we give them a stipend for singing or leading those that type of program. We do this bike program. We do the neighborhood watch meeting. We started that. We have 3 stores in that area. One liquor and one of those being a liquor store, and they building another one. So we're trying to combat things that won't entangle them in the environment. And then we do a Christmas giveaway every year. Yes.
Ms. Ward, I'm gonna have to cut you short and see if we have an opportunity for any council members to ask any questions.
Okay.
I don't see anybody in the queue, but I had a question regarding your finances.
Yes.
You're showing a total projected budget of $68,500. Yet
Yes.
for 2019, you filed an e-postcard indicating that your revenues were less than 50,000. So my question is, for the previous year, how much did your organization raise?
How much did we raise? We raised, I think it was on here. I don't have I could get that for you. I don't have my whole financial statement here. Let's see, community partners. We did community partners 10,000, general donation 15, community grant 3,300, volunteer investment 25,000, in-kind donation 2,500. It was a total of 4233.
4233 for 42,000. Was that 42,000?
Yes, sir.
Okay, for 2019?
Yes.
Okay, and then for 2020, how much of your 68.5 have you raised?
I have to verify it to make sure I'm telling you right. So you want to know how much we raised this year for 2020?
Yes, so far this year, yes.
Can I get that back to you?
You can.
Okay. All right. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Well, I don't see anybody else in the queue, so I just wanted to thank you for your presentation and thank you for all of it. Seems like you're all very busy and doing a lot of work. So appreciate the work that you're doing.
Thank you. Thank you.
Next, we will have Memphis Heritage. It's number 116 on your worksheet. Ms. Fulkerson, you have presenter privileges.
Am I muted? There we go. Can y'all hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. Good morning, everyone. Thank y'all so much for hearing our presentation today, all of the presentations. My name is Holly Jansen Fulkerson, and I am the Executive Director of Memphis Heritage, and we are seeking $25,000 to start a new project to engage with communities of color regarding historic preservation. So I just want to give y'all a little bit of background as to how this project came about. With all of the things that have been going on over the last several months, and the fight against systemic racism in full swing, historic preservation, like a lot of other fields and industries, is kind of reevaluating and examining our practices to make sure that we are being as diverse and inclusive as we possibly can. Historic preservation has historically not always told the full story of our historic places and our history in general. Communities of color have long been underrepresented in national and local historic designations. Of the 95,000 listings on the National Register of Historic Places, only 2% focus on the experience of Black Americans. And here locally, of our 16 landmarks districts, only 3 are located within Black neighborhoods. So this conversation is happening at the national level. The National Trust for Historic Preservation has really, they've always been kind of committed, but now they're really committed to hashtag telling the full story. That is a campaign that they are actively that is actively underway, and what Memphis Heritage is looking to do is to start that conversation at the local level. So I can't stress enough that if there was ever a time for a project like this to succeed, now is that time. We are looking to engage in as many neighborhoods as we possibly can, and a lot of that will of course depend on funding. We have heard from our constituents in Orange Mound and Whitehaven. There's also a lot of interest in other parts of our city, like Klondike, Smoky City, the Douglas neighborhood, Binghamton. We want to work with everyone to tell the full story of Memphis's history. So I'll tell you a little bit about the budget here. Our biggest expense is going to go towards payroll. We are going to look to hire student interns to help us complete these tasks and to help us engage and do the necessary research. Historically, history students have to complete internships as a requirement for graduation, and those internships are almost always unpaid. And that's another part of the problem that really limits who can pursue a career in historic preservation. You know, if you're not going to get paid for an internship and you can't get your degree, then you know, there's just not a lot of diversity in our field, and we're looking to change that as well. To be very, very honest with you, we don't really have a plan in place yet. This is the type of project that will require a lot of communication. We've already started building our project team. We would like to build that even further, and if y'all have any suggestions as to who should join our team, please let me know. We need to come up with a plan as to how best to engage in these communities, and that will be the first step. I think that's it. Do y'all have any questions for me?
Okay, thank you for that, Ms. Fulkerson. I don't see anybody else in the queue, but I have a question regarding your financials. Your 2019 tax filing indicated revenues of about $71,000. So my question is, towards your 146, as far as annual goal for this year, how much of that funding goal have you met so far?
Well, I don't have those figures right in front of me, so I will have to get back to you with exact figures. I will say, like every other, organization on the call today, our fundraising has definitely taken a hit because of COVID. We are actively engaging in online programs right now, and we have some exciting things in the work, and hopefully those will help us to meet our fundraising goals for the year.
Okay. Well, that's the only question that I have, and nobody else is in the queue. So thank you for your presentation this morning. Hope you stay safe and have a good, productive day.
Great. Thank y'all. You too. Bye-bye.
Councilman Jones, next we will have Collage Dance Collective. It's number 137 on your worksheet. Mr. Harper,
Okay.
You have presenter privileges. If you could begin with your budget screen.
Great, thank you. Well, first of all, I'd like to thank the City Council for inviting Collage to present today, and thank you for your patience as you hear from so many organizations who are doing great work in the city. My name is Marcellus Harper, and I am the founding executive director of Collage Dance Collective. For the past 10 years, we've been working in Memphis to inspire the growth and diversity of ballet. We do this work through two primary programs. One is our conservatory, where we currently train 500 kids a week, 230 of them.
Excuse me, did you have a presentation that you can display on the screen, please?
Sure, I'm sorry, do you know? Oh, okay.
There's a pop-up, quick share on the pop-up to make sure it comes up. Do you see that? There you go.
And then, go ahead, bro.
I'm sorry. So as I,
slideshow. And at the top, on the taskbar, you're close. Go to the right. There you go. Click that. Click that. And now from current slide. There you go. And that will maximize it. Perfect. Thank you.
Great. My apologies.
No
As I was
problem.
saying, we do this work through two core programs. One is our conservatory, where we currently train 500 kids a week. 230 of them train at our Midtown location on Broad Avenue, and the other 260 train in our Turning Point Outreach program. And two is our professional company, which is comprised of dancers of color from all over the world who now call Memphis home. Our professional dancers impact 25,000 individuals each year through performances and serve as tangible examples for our students that a professional career in dance is attainable. Over the past decade, due to the success of our programs, our community of dancers, students, and parents has grown tremendously. I'm here today to request $80,000 to support our arts education programs. Our request is pretty straightforward, so I thought I would take, if I could, a couple of minutes just to share a little bit about our new construction project in Binghamton. This new project, this new building will allow us to dramatically increase our arts education programs and expand our reach. And it's because of that growth and expansion that we are here today asking for your support. We currently operate out of a 2,000 square foot facility on Broad Avenue. Not only are we forced to turn students away and are unable to grow, but we also are severely restricted in our efforts to serve our current community better. Our current building is too small. We have 2 small makeshift studios, no real amenities, very limited parking, no safe drop-off lane, inadequate dressing rooms, and no real office space. So for the past 3 years, we've been working with our board to address this issue, and last year launched our Breaking Through Capital campaign and began construction on a brand new facility right in Binghamton. The new facility is 22,000 square feet, more than 10 times the size of our current space. We'll have 5 large studios with natural light. 2 of those studios are larger than our entire current building. The new building will have lots of parking, a dedicated drop-off lane, private courtyards, dressing rooms, spaces for the professional company, parent lounge, areas for the kids to do homework, and an administrative suite to staff up to 21 people. Because the pandemic hit in the middle of our construction, we were able to pivot to make this new facility COVID ready with air filtration technology to kill viruses and pathogens in the air, touchless restrooms and common spaces to minimize transmission risks, and a state-of-the-art audiovisual package that will allow us to offer virtual classes to ensure minimal interruption in our young people's training. Plus, we own the land that we're building on, making this a community asset for generations to come. As excited about this new state-of-the-art building as we are, we're even more excited about what the building will allow us to do for our community and for Memphis. The new facility will be one of the largest of its kind in the country, positioning Collage as the largest Black-led ballet institution in the South. It will allow us to serve more than 1,500 young people and 1,000 adults in the first 3 years. We'll be able to more than double the size of our professional company, positioning us to be able to tour more sustainably. We will be able to more than double our conservatory enrollment and become a sought-out training program for serious dancers in the region and the country, providing an alternative for similar programs in cities like New York City and San Francisco. We will be able to grow our earned revenue, an important strategy in our strategic plan to bolster sustainability and become less reliant on foundation support. Lastly, we'll be able to dramatically increase our reach into underserved and under-resourced communities, exposing hundreds of young people to the art of ballet and dance and the transformative qualities that serious training can bring. Funding from the City Council will directly help subsidize training for young dancers in the Binghamton and North Memphis communities, among others. It will also help offset increased operating costs due to COVID-19 preparations and provide resources to effectively implement virtual instruction for families who cannot attend in-person classes.
Okay, Mr. Harper, was that the conclusion of your presentation?
Yes, I was going to take a pause. I didn't know if there were any questions or any comments.
Yeah, well, there's nobody that's in the queue that would like to be recognized. And I didn't have any. Did you, were you going to continue with your presentation?
Well, I mean, you know, as I said, I've shared what the specific request is. Obviously, we're very excited about our new building that's going up in Binghamton. And I have pictures if you guys are interested in seeing it, but I also know that that's not directly what we're requesting. So I didn't want to impose upon this format if that's not appropriate.
I tell you what, if you could send that in a separate email, I would love to review what you have.
Okay, I will do.
Great. Okay, well, I don't have anybody else that would like it. No, there are no council members that would like to be recognized at this time, but thank you for the work that you're doing. Congratulations on the success that you've enjoyed here. So I just wish you a safe and productive rest of the day, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Next, we'll have number 138, Overton Park Conservancy. I've given presenter privileges to Casey Murley. And or is it going to be Ms. Sullivan? Who's going to run the presentation?
It'll be Casey. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. All right. She has presentation privileges. You can pull up your presentation starting with the budget screen. One second, if you don't mind. Can everyone see that? Is that good? If you could go to slideshow.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
At the top of your screen, file, home, draw, design, transitions, animation. To your left. So keep going to your left. At the top. At the top right there. So go back. Now go down, just slow down. Go down right there from current slide.
Yeah, no, I'm good about it. But yeah, just give me a break when you see it.
There you go. Click back.
Okay. Well, first, thank you to council for this invitation to present today. There's been a lot of organizations I've personally enjoyed listening to these presentations, just having confidence in the work that is going on in Memphis and the response from all of these different organizations. We're grateful to be included here and just in the overall healing process of our city. My name is Casey Murley. I am the Deputy Executive Director at Overton Park Conservancy. Before I talk a little bit about this specific project, just a couple points about our background. So we were established, the Conservancy was established in 2012 as the nonprofit stewardship partner of Overton Park. We are dedicated to raising the funds necessary to keep the park open, free, safe, accessible, and a vibrant place for Memphians and visitors. We receive an annual allocation of $150,000 a year from the city to manage Overton Park on its behalf. And although we raise all of the remaining funds needed to reach our annual operating budget, which costs just under $1 million per year to maintain the park. On top of that million, we raise any funds for capital improvement projects like the request that we're making today. And just to note that beyond the funding that was specified in our management agreement from 2012, this is the first time that we've come to council to ask for any additional funding support for projects related to the park. So you'll see on the screen here, we are requesting $92,500 to make improvements towards a larger project for the Rainbow Lake Playground. We raised in 2014 $500,000 to build the playground on the site of the former playground. It's Since we built this new playground, we estimate approximately 100,000 children per year use it, and that makes it one of the most popular spots in Overton Park. If you ever spend time there, it is one of the most fun and enjoyable spots to either play or watch little ones have their adventure time with friends old and new in that space. It's really a special spot. We know within a post-COVID world that Memphis children need safe and healthy outdoor spaces for mental and physical health. Overton Park and especially Rainbow Lake Playground provide that. And after almost a decade of lots of little hands and feet using that space, it's in great need of repairs and upgrades to make it a safe, accessible, and mainly ADA compliant space. So I'll walk you through just a little bit of the structural elements that we're requesting that need to be upgraded. You'll see here we've broken the project out in 3 phases. The overall total project costs about $400,000, but we've broken it into 3 phases so that we can get going. So the first phase, we call the spider ropes. It's the 3-dimensional climber. The expenses include the development of the design, so the renderings of the construction, the design safety review, which we have already engaged a certified playground safety inspector and construction designers to guide the process, and they are ready to roll when we have the funding. So the other 2 line items that we're specifically requesting from the city are just the straight up construction, administration, and implementation, and the operations and maintenance for this specific phase A and phase B. So phase B being what we lovingly refer to as the big green mound, which is particularly greener right now. But we also, is someone asking a question? Oh.
No, ma'am, that was background noise. You can continue.
Okay. So spider ropes and the big green mound, those are the 2 pieces of the overall project that we are requesting funding for from council today. And just to speak a little bit about the opportunity here. So I mentioned the playgrounds had nearly a decade of heavy usage, and we're mainly focusing on the ADA compliance requirements so the improvements will go towards those structural elements. And we always want to ensure that nature-based play is available for all Memphis children and visitors. And that's one thing that is especially unique about this Rainbow Lake Playground. We want to provide an accessible, safe, and equitable outdoor space for Memphis families in a post-COVID world. We're talking a lot about that in the kind of green space sector. How can parks be leveraged? How can parks partner with organizations around town, with schools, with city government to provide different opportunities that we might not have seen before?
We project that within.
A little background about the organization and our history of community involvement. So since day one, since we were started in 2012, we focused mainly on regular maintenance and what we refer to as operational excellence. So some of the main projects that we got off the ground that didn't exist before the Conservancy is the beloved Overton Park Dog Park, this Rainbow Lake Playground, the restroom facilities, the beautiful plaza that's over on the East Parkway side, and the entry structures to the Old Forest. All of these came out of a community engagement process, and that's how we approach all of our improvement projects in the park, is through by partnering with organizations or surveying neighboring community groups to respond to what is it that you want and what do you need in the park. we're currently engaging the public in ongoing design and operations and maintenance conversations for the Parks First master plan in over 30 years. And we're conducting equitable public outreach to guide that plan. So I guess I could pause right here. I have a few closing statements, but I'm curious if there are any questions about this specific project.
I don't see any council members in the queue with any questions.
Okay, well, just want to say again, thank you to council for inviting us into this next step. We're very grateful for the city's annual support as a small portion of our budget. And I just want to say that the pandemic has changed the way that we all live and work and play together. And Overton Park remained one of those few spaces where anyone can gather. The health and well-being of Memphians depends on our city's capacity to respond and recover from disasters of all kinds. And you guys are doing what seems to be an excellent job of opening doors for organizations across the city. So I just want to thank you again for inviting us to be a part of that. And although the Conservancy is not a direct service organization, we do work every day to ensure that Memphis children have access to safe, free, high quality outdoor space to grow and heal and play. And improvements from this grant and support from City Council will make all of this a possibility. So thank you very much for your consideration.
You're welcome. Thank you and have a great day. Stay safe. Okay.
Next, we'll have the Memphis Black Arts Alliance. Mr. Williams, Mr. and Ms. Williams, I'm going to give you presenter privileges so that you can share your screen. If you would pull up your presentation beginning with the budget.
Okay, thank you. I am trying to get it up. Hold on. Here we go.
Okay, perfect. And then just open up your PowerPoint. Do you have it already open on your screen? There you go. Click that.
There we go. All right.
And before
Good morning,
you start,
everyone.
if you go to slideshow at the top.
Yes.
Right there. Click that. And now from current slide. There you go.
All right. Good morning. I would like to thank everyone for allowing us to come before you today to talk about the Memphis Black Arts Alliance. This organization, I'm sure with most of you all are familiar with it. It has been around since 1982. It has touched countless lives here in the city of Memphis and beyond. And I'm very fortunate to have been able to grab the, the baton in 2016 to carry it on to the next generation. Since that time, the Memphis Black Arts Alliance has once again touched many, many lives. We've actually engaged over 12,000 patrons in the city, and we've taught over 7,000 children since 2016. And we have even been able to, or managed to be able to pay over 800 African-American artists. Now that's of course not including the other artists of other cultures that we pay, but 800 artists, and that means that we're trying to do and accomplishing what it is that we're here to do. The Memphis Black Arts Alliance, we preserve, celebrate, and advance African-American arts, literature, and culture. And what we mean by that is all of the living legends, we definitely try to stay in touch with them, creating avenues and space for them to be able to do their work, and also to network with the coming generation of artists. In fact, we have a project going on right now doing just that I'll tell you about a little bit later. With our celebration, we provide a platform for these artists to actually exhibit their work. And as we said, we advance, we teach. We have a program which is the one that's most nearest and dearest to our hearts. It's called Arts Reach ASAP. And what we do, we've teamed up with some of the community centers, the City of Memphis community centers, as well as some of the after-school programs. And we take artists as well as living legends into these locations where the children live and breathe and play. But more importantly, we take them to areas that are underserved. So children that would not otherwise be engaged in the arts are now engaged in the arts and working with persons with status, working with persons that have achieved great things, hopefully inspiring them and letting them know that you can achieve your dreams. And we do this because the Memphis Black Arts Alliance is a firm believer that the arts in our community are very important, and that the arts can change lives. Arts can actually help children turn the way they think. And of course, we all know those various percentages and things that they are saying about our community as far as crime. But we believe, especially we've been taught through the National Youth Network, that arts can actually make a change. And we're believing that we're seeing a manifestation of that. We have come to you today because we're now in COVID world and we're trying to understand this new thing. So we're shifting our work in a way to try to reach children differently, and that's through virtual means. We have had an interesting year, not unlike anyone else. But one of the things that we've been able to do is create table talks where the Memphis Black Arts Alliance actually has local artists, and we bring in persons that are professionals to do professional development as well as artistic development. And we do these table talks virtually. The fortunate thing that we've been doing that's different than a lot of people is that because of being artists, and a lot of our artists work and network with persons outside of the city, we've been able to bring table talks in with artists that are outside of the city. So we've been exposed to organizations as well as artists such as Silk Kozart, who's a national star. He came in and he talked with a lot of the local artists. We had Peggy Blue, since this is a big music city, and so Peggy Blue is the vocal coach on American Idol, and she came in and talked with a lot of vocalists and musicians. We were very, very active when it comes to the unrest, and so we wanted to do what we could do, and so we connected with Dr. Harold A. Middlebrook, who is fortunately originally from Memphis, but he worked with Dr. King and served with him and went through all of these civil unrest and everything with him. He came and did a table talk with us, a virtual table talk, and we invited everyone, and it was such a huge, wonderful opportunity because he was teaching us what they had to learn during the civil unrest in the 50s and the 60s, and the necessary steps that you take in order to succeed. And so we talked with all of these arts organizations as well as artists so that we could come together. We truly believe that through creative placemaking, we can make a change. And what we're asking you today is for $60,000 to help with our programming as we continue with our virtual process and transfer. Through our table talks, it's been great. We are currently working with our youth doing a project called Sankofa. The youth are actually creating what is called digital storytelling, so short form documentaries. This has been a unique experience because what they've been able to do is connect directly with living legends such as Joyce Cobbs, the Tim Prees, and they're interviewing them personally. And all of these youth that we're currently working with, because this is a trial, are talented youth. So they're able to get with them and develop a camaraderie. And so they will be doing an actual mini movie, because of course children are a lot more technically savvy than we are. So they're creating all of these different clips and pictures and all of this and creating this wonderful movie. And once we get all of their projects together, hopefully by the end of the month, we will present a huge virtual display for the world to see called Sankofa. And also one of the other things that we've most recently done, the Memphis Black Arts Alliance prides itself in creating wonderful opportunities to present our artists. And so since we've now been working with persons outside of the city, we tried something new. We have actually created a virtual theater opportunity that includes persons all throughout the country. Now, we've seen table reads, we've seen a lot of different things that were happening, but now, and we've never seen anything like an actual theatrical performance. And so this past weekend, and I'm that's my new baby, we're very, very happy about it. We actually found a way to connect all of us through virtual means to do an actual production. And it was, in my opinion, I think quite successful. getting ready to move forward with that and incorporating more youth, incorporating more artists. We had Deborah Collage, who is a well-known artist in Los Angeles. We had Daniel Lineberger, who was in Oak Ridge, Tennessee. We had Rakitha Morris, who was in Mississippi, and myself and James Cook, who are local. And we just actually did the production down, and it turned out to be quite nice and quite well attended. So the Memphis Black Arts Alliance is trying to find ways to shift our programming so that it can incorporate still the study and what we do, but also to open it up to new and broad ways for our youth and coming generation to utilize those formats. So when things do change back, they still have something new that they can do.
Thank you for your presentation. I don't see anyone else in the queue, and I didn't have any questions. So just wanted to wish you a good day and hope you stay safe, Ms. Williams.
Thank you so much,
You're welcome.
Councilman Jones.
You're welcome.
And next, we will be hearing from number 150 on your schedule, STS Enterprises. Mr. Carr, you have presenter rights, but before you begin, we have a caller that we need to identify on here. If you called in, please let us know who you are.
This is Reginald Milton with South Memphis Alliance.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Mr. Milton. I'm saving your name down.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
Good morning. Can you all hear me well?
Yes, we can. Good morning.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for the opportunity to present you all. My name is Alton Carr. I am the co-founder and executive director of STS Enterprise. Also, we have on the call my colleague, Jeremy Calhoun, who is the co-founder as well and the president of STS Enterprise. And so today we are coming to you requesting a $40,000 towards STS Enterprise, which is setting the standard. Roughly 10,000 will be used towards software and technology. Of course, due to our situation now, we are now virtual, but also not only that, but also collecting data. We're looking to purchase a software to collect data and also have a one-stop shop for all of our applications, our background check, efforts that can help us expand our program, but also make us efficient in collecting data as well. And $30,000 towards our program costs, which is exploratory learning. We send our students to different camps across the country, but also incentives for our students as they progress and they do well in their academics and also outside of the academics. Our budget, our annual expenses, what you see here, the $300,000, it's more so broken up into a 5-year strategic plan, which we have in place now. And so that's where the significant amount comes from, because we are we have a 5-year plan in place to be able to raise those funds. So that's where the difference comes from. Our efforts right now, we currently work with high school and college students. We also work with middle school students as well, but to do a few things to help them impact their communities economically and socially. Economically, we got to put some money in our kids' pockets. And how we do that is by giving them the skills they need, the transferable skills they need, helping develop their leadership and their character to impact their life long term, and then also socially impact their communities. We gotta encourage our students to give back, and so that's primarily what we're focused on, making sure our students understand the opportunities that lie economically and also socially to impact their communities as well. Just some opportunities here. I won't spend too much time on this, but as we know, 50%, almost close to 50% of our population are under child poverty. Also, there's a stat that also talks about almost 50% of individuals that graduate from college are underemployed in their first job. So what that looks like is they're not in a career field that aligns with their major nor their skill set. Also, Memphis has an opportunity as well, one of the highest unemployment rates in the metropolitan area. And also from a student standpoint, a number of our students aren't receiving the adequate support needed to graduate and get to a post-secondary opportunity. And that's military, universities, colleges, directly to the workforce or trades field. And so from a solution standpoint, STS Enterprise, we have a high school program called STS Strive, which provides leadership development, the exploratory learning opportunities. And I'll break down exploratory. And that basically means sending our students to different camps, having the opportunity to do job shadowing in different careers so they can see what it looks like to be an architect, what it looks like to be an accountant, what it looks like to be in aviation. We're able to do that. And our goal is to 100% post-secondary attainment. So, you know, we don't care if our students, our biggest thing is you need to go somewhere. You can't be on your mama's couch. So you need to be either at a job, you need to be in the military, you need to be at a university, or you need to be in a trades field. For our collegiate program, it's focused on primarily empowering our college students. We partner with University of Memphis, Lemoyne College, CBU, Rhodes, and Southwest to make sure our students have the skills and opportunities they need to progress in the workforce. And what that looks like is making sure they're engaged in the Memphis community. So they attend a number of networking events here in the city, gaining internships here in the city, connecting with individuals here in the city of Memphis to make sure that, one, they see Memphis as a valuable city they can stay and work in, but also when they graduate, they'll have relationships in a network. That way, when they graduate, they'll have individuals who they can apply through jobs with. And also our STS Speaks initiative. We partner with University of Memphis, Shelby County Schools, and LOC to provide workshops, conferences, and conversation that develop students. And just some stats to kind of give you all an idea from an impact standpoint. Currently, right now, we work with 120 students, and each one of those students receive at least 10 touch points in a year. We've committed over 4,000. We're going to be committing over 4,000 hours of leadership development in this year, impacting students. Some of our key investors, which people consider donors, but we call them investors because they investing in our next generation, and we expect a return on our investment. As you can see here, Liscombe & Pitts, Transnetics, Nike, those are some of the individuals who invest in the organization to help us move the mission forward. But we can't do it alone. We partner with individuals such as MAM, University of Memphis, Office of Youth Services, and Shelby County Schools to make sure our students have the opportunities and the resources that they need to expand and, again, attack our goal of economic development and social impact in their community. What you all see in front of you right now is just some of our student successes. I wish I can go over all of them because it's such amazing stories, but I'll hit on a few. One of our students, Benjamin Jones, he's a senior, he just graduated. He was a senior at Melrose High School. Came in our program, normal young man from Orange Mound, kind of had an attitude, didn't want to jump on board with us. After a few years being with us, the young man became a leader. Now he was recently a part of Mayor Harris's youth council. We have students who, one of our young ladies, Marlena Love, came out of South Memphis, attended University of Memphis. She didn't know anything about internships. She got involved in STS. We got connected with internships at Cummins. After her graduating from University of Memphis, they offered her a full-time position. She became one of the highest earners in her family. Another one of our success stories. And last but not least, one of our other young students, one from our high school program, Michael Lester. Michael Lester joined our program from Binghamton. One of his friends joined the program, and one of his friends brought him along. He joined our program. He followed the process, did what he's supposed to do, graduated high school, and took the more unconventional route. He worked for MLG&W. He became one of the highest earning in his family. So those are the opportunities that STS is doing to connect students to different career fields that they may not necessarily know about until they actually get involved in our program. And what you see below are some of the internships and the full-time placements where we place students at across this country. And just where we're going, we want you all to kind of paint the picture of kind of where STS is going. You heard about some of the stuff we're doing right now in the community, but these are some things that we're looking to do in the near future that we're also, that's already in process, but we're looking to grow and expand. We're currently working with Lemoyne right now through their block program, but also recruiting students and by bringing and adding marketing to Lemoyne College and showing the opportunities and the resources that lie at Lemoyne College, by helping students get internships, jobs at LOC right now, and leveraging those individuals as success stories to bring more individuals to Lemoyne College. Currently right now, like I said before, we have about 120 students in our program. Our goal is to expand it to 300 students. And with your support, we'll be able to do that. Our workforce development initiative, helping students get internships and also job shadowing opportunities. That way, if they can't get an internship, they still get exposed to the career field and they're able to connect with a professional in their space, but also full-time employment for our individuals that are graduating from college. Our Power Perception and Image Initiative, we call it Young Adult and Professional. There was an initiative, a group that existed here in Memphis. Unfortunately, they don't exist right. They dissolved recently, but we took up that baton to make sure our students are getting tailored suits and ties to make sure they can show themselves professional. And last but not least, Powered by STS. That's an initiative where we're using a voice to empower our young people. We've had conversations around senior conversations for our high school students to show, hey, you know, this is what it's like to be a senior. We've had conversations with college students. This is what it's like to be a college student. And this information is for individuals that are about to go into that space. So they make sure that now we're putting our young people in the seat of leaders. They can now share their stories and empower the next generation. And last but not least, we want to point out somebody that planted a seed in our founder, Councilman Robinson. She planted a seed in Jeremy Calhoun by hiring him on MSGNW, and that internship helped him pay his rent. That internship helped him get the professional exposure that he needed. You know, Jeremy, he has dreads. You know what I mean? So in a professional environment, sometimes that can be disheartening. But she hired him on full time, and eventually gave him a full-time position there, where he was able to make some phenomenal connections and also be basically a Kickstarter for his internship, where he interned at Cummins next. Then after that, he got hired on full-time international paper. So we're trying to recreate another Jeremy in our community so we can be able to move forward the city of Memphis for the betterment. So that's our presentation, and you have any questions?
Yeah, thank you for your presentation, sir. We have Councilman Smiley that's in the queue.
I don't necessarily have a question, but I'm not sure the world is ready for another Jeremy. But you know, colleagues, I'm very familiar with this program. I think in 2011 or 2012, I was sitting on a panel discussion, and a young man, Mr. Calhoun, approached me and said, "Man, I'm starting this program called STS, and I need you to be aboard. Be a part of it." And I said, "Well, I'm actually going back to law school to finish." He said, "As soon as you move back, I'm gonna reach out. I promise you." I think it was the day of my return back to Memphis, I had a Facebook message from Mr. Calhoun. He said, "You told me when you come back, you're gonna be a part." You know, ever since my return, I've been a part of this organization, just, you know, watching them grow, watching them, you know, transform the lives of the young people in the city. And some of these organizations, you know, I know they do good work, but I'm intimately familiar with this organization, and I would ask you all to do what you can to support this organization. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Smiley. Ms. Cryer, I have a couple of questions related to your finances. You indicated that your $300,000 budget was representative over a 5-year period of time. Do you have a breakdown of sort of what your annual projected revenues, expenses would be?
Yes, sir, we do, and I can get that to you as well via email if possible.
Okay. Okay. Well, I'll be looking for that. If you could, can you provide me, you turned in a postcard indicating that you had revenues of less than $50,000 for last year. Can you give us an idea of how much you have raised already for this current year?
Yes, sir. We raised currently $20,000 right now. Okay. A large portion of that is actually generated revenue. So STS Speaks is a arm where we go speak to different groups, such as Shelby County Schools, University of Memphis. And so that is funds that we've generated through our organization. And the remaining of those funds are through individual investors or donors.
Gotcha. Well, thanks for your presentation this morning, sir. Good luck to you and your program. Thanks for the work that you do. Hope you have a safe and productive day.
Thank you so much. God bless.
You as well. So we're ready for the next one.
Ready for the next presenter, Councilman Jones?
Yes, ma'am.
We will go to the Memphis Urban League. They're number 98. Ms. Damon, you have presented presentations. You can pull up your presentation on the budget screen.
Good morning and welcome. Well, good afternoon. Still morning.
Good morning, and thank you for this opportunity. And to the council, thank you for your service to the city of Memphis. I am Tanya Cecily Damon, the president of the Memphis Urban League, with a request of $63,330 for our Sacred Sons program.
It's always more expensive than never.
Okay. The Memphis Urban League has been doing the work of empowerment since 1932 and under the umbrella of the National Urban League since 1943. Our largest department is our Workforce and Economic Development, and under that falls our Save Our Sons program. The Save Our Sons program primarily targets African American men between the ages of 18 and 34. We're not just locked into that. If there is a need and someone comes to us who is 15, 16, or 40 or 45, we will definitely see them. So the Save Our Sons program provides workforce development focused solutions to men who are unemployed and underemployed, and typically who are challenged by background barriers. And the program strives to address barriers, provide life and soft skills training, and identify employment opportunities that lead to livable wages. We use a workforce model that includes a series of modules that focus on introspection, intensive training, case management, and individual career assessments for them to really look at their lives, how they got there, and challenges to overcome where they are. Participants are presented those modules for them to reach their goals and to become gainfully employed, financially literate, goal-oriented, and to become leaders in their families and in their communities. We partner with the district attorney's office, and through that partnership, 8 gentlemen were referred to us who, in lieu of incarceration, received the training from us and have moved on to become viable citizens in our community. So the way it's structured is we have cohorts, and we found that in those cohorts, the men are able to glean from one another, to learn from each other, to discuss the challenges that they've had in life and to overcome them. We're planning to have 10 cohorts. Each cohort is 4 weeks. And there was a time prior to COVID where we actually had 2 different cohorts going at the same time. Since the inception of our Save Our Sons program in 2016, we've had 487 men who have received direct services. That's walking through our doors. We do have other partnerships with Job Corps, Memphis Office of Youth Services, Hope Academy with juvenile detention. And so when we calculate all of those, we've touched the lives of over 3,000 men in the Save Our Sons program. At the end of the cohort, the individuals are able to go into our empowerment center, the Brunel Lee Smith Empowerment Center, and choose new suits and shoes, the entire outfit for the interview. And this program is so dear to my heart because of individual in my life who passed away, who was at the end of hope, just like many of these men who come through our doors. And so our goal is to empower them, to create a change of mindset, and to let them know that there are other alternatives other than a life of crime, of dipping and dabbing in things that will lead to incarceration. But our hope is to instill in them the hope that they can, and as long as they have breath in their bodies, they can make a difference. So our ask is for $63,330. Are there any questions regarding our budget?
Mrs. Cecily Bigman, I don't see anybody else in the queue, and I don't have any questions, so I just want to take this opportunity to thank you for making your presentation before us. Wish you a safe and productive day today.
Thank you. Thank all of you.
Thanks.
Okay, next we are going to hear from the Binghamton Community Land Trust. I'm going to give Ms. Cruz presenter privileges now so that she can share her presentation beginning with the budget screen.
Hi everyone, I'm Magali Cruz. Can y'all hear me?
Yes, we can.
All right, thank you all. So I am part of the committee for the Binghamton Community Land Trust. And I actually want to make a bold statement by that this is not just a financial request, this is an invitation to a movement. The Binghamton Community Land Trust desperately wants to change the narrative of housing, that it's not just a money-making endeavor, but it's about preserving and encouraging community among each other and our neighbors. So I want to start a little bit about how we got started and then where are we going in the foreseeable future. So we are a volunteer group of 20 members in the Binghamton community. And we started by just going to regular community meetings. And we started to identify the issue of affordable housing for low-income families in our neighborhood. Once we got it started in 2018, we started to see a lot of housing development in our area. And we thought, wow, wouldn't it be amazing for us to get a chance to finally, because the majority of us are renters, to finally get the opportunity to purchase a home and have a more permanent stay in Binghamton. But when we started to look at the prices, they were $150 a year ago. Now they're averaging to $300 to $350. So that dream of home ownership was slowly slipping away from our neighbors. And we saw that a land trust, a community land trust, is a great fit for our neighborhood, where we value the importance of neighbors, of assisting each other, and that we are there to provide support, both financially, if you need maintenance, or you just want to feel secure that we as a neighborhood physically own our neighborhood. Through a community land trust, we put in land under our land trust and we secure it for permanent affordability. Because when you purchase a home under a land trust, you are buying into the idea that you are not purchasing this house to make money off of it, but you're purchasing it because you enjoy your neighbors, you want to build community, and you want to be a part of it for years on end. If you decide to sell, you are going to pass the buck forward by agreeing to a lease contract where it says that there is a limit on the price that you can sell your house for. So for example, in Binghamton, many of our neighbors could afford between $70,000 to $90,000, but when the houses started reaching $150,000 to $200,000, they weren't able to qualify. So technically, they could have bought that house years ago for $90,000, and then